Hi, Simon Kids. I'm Linda Davick, and I love making books. Here are some I've made. I've illustrated all of these books, and I've actually written some of them too. But today I'd like to read to you from this one, which I both wrote and illustrated, called It's Not Easy Being Mimi. First, I want to introduce you to Mimi's friends. And then I'll read a little bit of one of my favorite chapters from the book where Mimi just can't help getting herself into a little bit of trouble. And it's actually a lot of trouble. And after I finish reading, I'm going to take your questions. And if I can get Mimi on the phone, I'm going to see if she'll help me answer them. So, this is Mimi. You know how some kids are just so playful and full of life that sometimes they find themselves causing a disaster without even meaning to? Well, that's Mimi. She lives with her cat Marvin on the very top floor of the Periwinkle Tower, and she drives a purple mini convertible. Yoshi lives right below Mimi in apartment 3. He's probably the smartest of the bunch. He loves books more than anything. The only problem is that he can't read yet. And I don't know if you know this or not, but there are a lot of really smart kids who just have a hard time learning to read. This is Tanya. Tanya lives right below Yoshi in apartment 2. She loves mirrors. She has 1,000 combs and barrettes, and she always wears a tiara. She loves giving the other kids lots of advice about everything. Boris lives on the first floor in apartment 1. He loves to eat. And when you have lunch with him, you have to be alert, because if you look away for 1 second, he'll vacuum up your sandwich. Hunter doesn't live in the Periwinkle Tower, though he's still best friends with the kids who do live there. He lives in this little house here. He's absolutely crazy about baseball. In fact, no one has ever seen his left hand because his baseball glove is permanently attached. Sophie lives up the street from the tower. She loves horses and she loves ballet. And in fact, she always wears a tutu and riding boots, both at the same time. She has so many after-school activities scheduled that she often falls asleep standing up. So now you've met Mimi and all of her friends, and next I'm going to read to you from Mimi's book. Before I start reading, I think I should give you a little background information. This chapter takes place on December 1st. It's a Monday after the long Thanksgiving holiday, and Boris has been up all night working on a class project. Okay, chapter is called Rat Duty. I was happy. It was my first day of rat duty. At noon, when all the other kids were in the cafeteria eating leftover turkey sandwiches, I stayed behind in the classroom to have lunch with Cheerio. I jumped up and sat on the table beside his cage. I gave him a kiss and presented him with a special Thanksgiving rat platter. Some chopped up apple, a bit of sweet potato, and for dessert, sunflower seeds. I polished off my own sandwich and sang to Cheerio while he crunched his seeds. The Advent calendar was sitting on the other end of Cheerio's table. It had been driving everybody crazy all morning. It was hard to concentrate on your work when such a wonderful thing was right in front of you. That afternoon, some lucky kid would get to open door number 1 and take the treat. Maybe Mr. Dayberry would choose me. I loved teeny tiny things so much. I wondered what kind of treats were hidden behind the glittery doors. Charms? Toys? Chocolate-covered raisins? The clock said 12:20. 10 more minutes before Mr. Dayberry would return with the class. Next chapter. What happened to the Advent calendar? I hopped down and quietly closed the door to the classroom. You've heard that saying, when one door closes, another one opens. The door I opened was the little one labeled December 1st. I held the wooden reindeer with the red glass nose up to the sunlight. My fingers were shaking, but they went right ahead and pried open the second little door. Before I knew it, there were 25 teensy, bright toys lined up on the table. I could not stop staring at them. Cheerio was under their spell too. He crept out of his cage and sniffed each one. The bell! I jumped down. There was no way I'd be able to stuff the toys back into place, so I swept all 25 of them into my lunchbox. My hands were still shaking, but I managed to seal each tiny door shut. The instant I refastened the 25th door, I heard Mr. Dayberry's voice boom.
"Slow down, please."
And then everyone stampeded back into class. Next chapter. Uh-oh! Later, Mr. Dayberry chose Hunter to open the first door on the Advent calendar. Maybe he picked Hunter because Hunter had made a fort for Cheerio to sleep in out of an old baseball cap. Hunter swaggered up to the front of the room with a goofy grin on his face. He wiped his right hand on his jeans. It took him forever to open the door because of the baseball glove on his left hand. We all held our breath. When the little door finally popped open, Hunter's face fell. Mr. Dayberry? There's nothing there. Everyone gasped. So I gasped too. Mr. Dayberry frowned.
"Open the next door then and take tomorrow's treat."
Hunter turned his baseball cap around backward. He took a deep breath and started loosening up the next little door. But the same thing happened. Hunter's face turned red. Mr. Dayberry jumped up. In an instant, he was in front of the table. He whipped off his glasses and peered into the two empty compartments.
"I can't get over it. Would they really have left out 2 treats?"
He picked up the calendar.
"It's light as a feather."
He shook it.
"The calendar's empty."
Mr. Dayberry shoved his glasses back on and looked out at the class. Everyone looked back in shock except for Boris, who had his head down. I knew Boris was exhausted from working on his class project all night long, but everyone else thought Boris was sick. I could read their minds. They all thought the Advent calendar had been full of candy, and that now Boris was full of candy.
"Boris,"
said Mr. Dayberry. Boris's head popped up. Then Mr. Dayberry said,
"if anyone has anything to say to me after class, I'm available."
I think we actually have a few more minutes for questions. So I'm going to see if I can get Mimi on the phone to help me answer your questions. So hold on. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M. Mimi, hi. It's me.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Oh, that's good. Hey, do you have time right now to help me answer some questions for your readers?
Sure.
Great. And is it okay if I put you on speakerphone so everybody can hear you?
Yep.
Okay, great. Thanks. Okay, first question. What is the ribbon for? What is the ribbon for? Mimi?
What ribbon?
The ribbon in the book. Remember?
Oh, that ribbon. I love that ribbon. Some people use it to mark their place in the book. Other people cut it out and use it for a hair ribbon. You can also cut it out and use it to wrap a teeny tiny present.
Wait a minute. Do you actually cut things out of books?
Well, not if it's a library book, but if I buy it with my own money.
Okay. Next question. Does Hunter really never, ever, ever, ever take off his baseball glove? Mimi?
He can't take it off. It's permanently attached. I don't know, he may have even been born with it. But that's okay because he doesn't want to take it off, ever.
But how does he take a bath or tie his
Next
shoes?
question. I promised Yoshi I'd take him to the bookstore this afternoon, so maybe we should move along.
Oh, okay. Next question. This is a question from my mom. She wants to know if the kids who live in the Periwinkle Tower really live all by themselves. Mimi?
No, I don't. I live with Marvin, my cat. Oh, that's the secret knock. I better get going or Yoshi's gonna leave without me.
Well, okay. It's been great talking with you, Mimi. Thank you so much for helping me.
You're welcome.